Hello. Today I have a little bit of an impromptu video. So it's one that I've thought about quite a bit in the sense that, like, this concept that I'm going to go through is based off of a paint series that I did in 2023. And it's kind of like, yes, it's the paint series, but it's also just a foundational way of thinking for me. And I've thought about different ways that I could share this with you, whether that be an essay or whatever. And I figured just talking to you is probably the best way. And that makes sense because essentially what I want to talk to you about is the ways of being in the world, and the way that we exist and operate is our entire thing. It's kind of consciousness. It's kind of what we are doing on this planet is being. And I kind of, at that time when I developed this paint series, I was looking for how do we do that? And how do we do so meaningfully? And so I divided it into three. I just want to say that, like, these aren't like mutually exclusive. So obviously there's going to be some overlap. There's also going to be, like, I'm dividing our entire experience and consciousness and our experience of consciousness, and so it's not exhaustive. It's just general. It's very, very general. And these are three large ways that I believe you can engage with the world meaningfully. Well, first, I think it's important that I introduce to you why I think the way that I think. And a part of that is because of a concept called symbolic interactionism. And that's the idea that humans formulate meanings through our interactions. I think that's true. It's a very individual, micro level understanding of interpretation, and it's a sociological understanding. So yes, it's on an individual micro level, but it is also influenced by the macro because we obviously engage as people with the world as a whole. And I also recognize that that's not the only way. There are loads of ways that we can view the world, and it's not just in this micro level way. We have macro level systems that operate consistently, and when you zoom out far enough, there really are these, like, really large engaging or widely engaged mechanisms for social behavior, like culture and religion. And some of the heavier stuff, like capitalism, involves the normalization of itself and the justification of itself. War involves the normalization and justification of itself. These are all cultural understandings, and they're called normative understandings, and they become commonsensical, and that's more of the macro level. So we're gonna zoom back in. We're gonna zoom back in because we're talking about engagement with the world as people, and that means it's just you for a moment. And now it's not just you, because what because with symbolic interactionism, the second word is interactionism, right? Like, we are interacting not just with ourselves, but with other people, with the world. And I think it was really important to me and foundational for me in developing a stronger, more meaningful relationship with my life when I viewed my life as a relationship, and when I began to understand that, like, oh, the world itself is something to relate to and from. So when I engage with the world, you're not necessarily granting personhood, but you're granting agency, and you're granting a way of interacting, a way of responding to, and it becomes less a reactive and be more meaningful because you're looking for these kind of, like, I don't know, you're bonding in a way. So yeah, when you start to view things as a relationship, you also begin to develop the sense that, like, not only are our communities extensions of the self, but so are our environments, and it goes so on and so forth in concentric spheres, that we are extensions of one another. When we kind of view the world that way, we begin to view the world like a friend or like your neighbor. And I believe if we do so in this kind of meaningful way, we can A, welcome more kindness into our world, but also B, more patience, and also just, like, more joy. And that's always the goal, right? To cultivate more joy, to experience more joy, to have a better life and a better experience of our lives. And I believe personally that, like, the best way to enjoy your life is to look at it with this intimacy and this expansiveness that you only have, in my opinion, in these three ways. The first one is presence. And this one seems kind of obvious. And I think it's important also, as I go through these three, to explain that all three are expressions of being. These are how we approach the world, the things that we embody, the goals of our embodiment, what we're doing, and how we do it. And like I said, the first one is presence. So we're existing and we're operating in a way that is occurring right now. And that isn't just like, yeah, obviously everything's happening right now. That's all we got. But we're also intentionally aware and mindful of the present moment as it's occurring. So this is no autopilot. This is no, like kind of going throughout our days as we always do. This is meaningfully and intentionally engaging with the now. What does that look like? That means zooming in. You're having lunch with your friends. It means listening. It means looking around you. It means taking everything in as it is, not as these huge concepts or these abstractions or these definitions or these, more logical understandings, which have a place and a time and place, but it's not the here and now. And the here and now is for what is happening right now. How are we being right now? What is being around us? What is around us? Who is around us? How is around us? And taking things in that way. And when I put this in one of my three, it was because I think that these are dialects of existence. Like, I think that this is like dialectics, right? Like, how, when we start to talk about the dialectics of existence, we're talking about how do we talk to the world. And that's not so like literal. Like, I'm not like out here talking to everything. I could be, but I'm not out here engaging with life so literally that way. But when we view life like a conversation, how are we showing up? We're showing up presently. We're here, we're engaged, we're listening, we're observing, we're taking things in, we're fully embodied in that moment, which is now. And yeah, so that's, like I said, these aren't mutually exclusive, so you're going to hear some overlap with a few of these, but all of them are rooted in presence. The reality is that we are most engaged and most intentional when we are present. And also, we experience the full breadth of our consciousness and our experience when we are able to expand into space, which only occurs in the here and now. So, now the second way is one that I had to take very, not personally, but very intimately. It's something that I've had to explore because it didn't come naturally to me so much as, not that it didn't come naturally to me, but it didn't come naturally in a way that was super helpful all the time. And that is curiosity. Curiosity often for me became scary. And that was because I struggle with anxiety. And so it was like, oh my God, if I investigate this thing, what if it's bad? What if I, open Pandora's box, and there's something really bad in there? I don't want to deal with that. No freaking way. So curiosity became a little bit of an antithesis to what I felt like was a good life. And first of all, curiosity is the one thing that you can lean on when you're looking to engage with new experiences, to learn about people, to learn more about who people are, and to gain new interest, to learn a new skill. To experience expansion, you have to enter into new waters, and curiosity is a way of engaging with that without fear. And not so much, actually, sorry, let me correct myself, not so much without fear, but despite fear. And curiosity is a way of recognizing that something is unknown without making it seem like it's unknown and scary. So curiosity is a way of approaching what we know is unknown, what we know to be unknown, without the negativity we often associate with mystery. A lot of our lives is uncertainty, right? Like, because we live in the here and now, because we only have this moment, because we only rely on the past, and we have this ever expanding future that we aren't aware of and we can't be aware of, there's a whole lot of mystery. And when we start to engage with the world in a way where we're asking questions and we're like, what does that mean? Or what could that mean? What can that mean? We begin to A, engage with our imagination, and B, explore, exploration, discovery. These are all very, very impactful things in terms of, we don't know everything. We don't need to know everything. But when we show up interested in learning or interested in what is occurring, A, it's easier to be present. So, hint to the first one, it's easier to be present. And B, when we're curious, we're able to become more reflective. We're able to encourage our own self-development. We're able to encourage just the expansion of the self and the expansion of our worlds. And I think it could be really, really exhausting to be so closed off to curiosity that the world will always be as it is now. We close the door to hope. We'll get there. We close the door to hope. We close the door to excitement and this kind of the benefits of the unknown. And we take away that opportunity to experience joy through mystery. And now, if you haven't already noticed, we're really taking this on the chin with fear. Like, the reality is that the human experience is encapsulated by fear. We can't avoid it. It's something that's a part of us. It's just the same as suffering. It's a part of suffering. It's an iteration of suffering. In suffering, we have no business doing anything or trying to rid ourselves of it, so much as minimizing suffering, of course. But the human condition is just riddled with this mystery because of the way we experience time and the way we experience consciousness. And so the third way of being that I believe is necessary and meaningful is faith. And this is another one that I struggle with. These are all things that I struggle with. Faith is one of those ones that you can only have it with the mystery. You can only have faith when there is something unknown. And I don't mean faith in a religious sense, but I mean developing a relationship with the universe, the cosmos, whatever you call it, that is trusting. I trust that, this will happen. And that is a big way of like, trust is a big way of putting to bed anxieties, shutting that little voice up in your head that says like something might not go right. Well, what if something does go right? That'd be pretty cool. And also, you have to have faith that things are just going to work out how they will, and also faith that you can handle it if they don't. And I talk about this all the time because it was a light bulb moment for me when I was like, oh my God, I can handle some things. Oh my God, I've probably felt every emotion I'm capable of by now. I'm 26. Felt everything that I'm going to feel. All these feelings, despite the levels and degrees of discomfort or comfort that they have, I can handle it. I can handle it. The situation's nothing, it's, I have no control over that. And my life is much better spent when I have faith that I'll be able to handle it than it is worrying about whether or not I can handle something that I don't know is going to happen yet, or what it is that is going to happen. And there's a whole lot of questions and a whole lot of like mental races and chases that you're doing in your head that I just like you silence when you decide that you have faith in yourself, you have faith in the natural unfolding of things, and faith that everything will be okay. And each of these three, in my opinion, they come up in countless different ways. This is a framework, right? This is a foundation for how I try to embody my experience, how I try to show up for the world so that I can have a meaningful relationship with my world. And that I'm just saying that so that you know that your way is your way. And however you can best meaningfully show up to your life, specifically your life, your every moment of every day, how can you show up right now? What can you embody right now? How do you arrive at your life? These are three ways that I came up with. And so this series that I came up with during when I created this paint series in 2023, it's about being a part of something, right? When we're talking about arriving at our lives, being in our lives, embodying our lives, we're talking about engagement. We're talking about being within something that is larger than just us. We're not just operating the world in like robot mode. We're operating the world organically as it is, as it occurs, as we are designed to have this capacity to do. This is also a way of understanding the organization of the cosmos. You are a conscious being. You have the ability to engage with your consciousness in a way that makes sense for you. And so when we even if these three they don't resonate with you and they're not the way that you view as meaningful expressions of your being, nonetheless, you're able to, or you should be able to, explore your life and ask yourself like what this means for how things are. What does this mean for what this is right now? That's curiosity. What does this mean for how things are right now? Who are you? How do you arrive here? This is all the presence, the curiosity, and the faith. This is, again, about a relationship. I don't want that to go unnoticed. I know I'm talking a lot about us expressing. That can be a very outward thing, but it's also about reception, right? If we're present, we can receive. If we are curious, we can receive new information. If we are faithful, we can receive in those moments that, what you couldn't if you weren't, because you're afraid and you're missing what's going on because you're looking at the fear instead. And when we talk about relationships, we talk about, again, intimacy, but we also talk about friendliness. We talk about being a good neighbor. How are we a good neighbor to our lives? How are we a good neighbor to our neighbors? How are we a good neighbor to our earth? How are we a good neighbor? What kindness would you express to others that you can better express to yourself? And what kindness would you express to yourself that you could better express to others? And these are ways, when we talk about presence, curiosity, and faith, it also means giving people the benefit of the doubt. It also means being curious about the world systems and why they are the way they are, and learning that maybe things are a little fucked up because of XXX, colonialism, period, capitalism, period. Like when we're curious, these things, we can approach them level-headed, and they are as they are. We're not looking to shape anything with our fear. We're not looking to mold or alchemize really anything beyond what it is. We're looking to engage with the world as it arrives to you. And that means acknowledging history, by the way. And that also means taking accountability. And we can do so best when we engage in these three ways, because they allow us to be more gentle and more intimate with our surroundings. And that comes, like I said, from the micro to the macro. The way you experience is going to ripple out. Not only does this allow us to be more kind people, but it allows us to arrive in our lives in a way that is softer for ourselves. We don't feel so like stuck within our skin. We don't feel so poked at by the discomfort that we have. It's there. It is as it is. We have this, ability to practice radical acceptance and engage with it how we choose. And so when you think, how do I want to engage with the world? How do I want to engage with this thing that's upsetting me? How do I want to engage with this thing that I'm uncomfortable with? How do I want to engage with this thing that is joyful and loving? How do I want to engage with my friends? How do I want to engage with my job? How do I want to engage with this? And it talks about activity, it talks about participation, it talks about how we show up. It's active, it's not passive. Even though there's reception, it's not passive, it's active. How do we behave? How do we do these things? What is this expression? And this is all engaging within the wider expression that already is happening. I hope this made sense. It's a little abstract. If it doesn't make sense, like, ask questions. And also, like, if you have your own ideas, please share them. That said, also, if you want to find me on any other platform, thanks for watching this video. First of all, if you want to find me on any other platform, I'm on Instagram at sami.mckay, TikTok at sami.mckay. And I also have a Patreon where I release, essays, and I release creative prompts and behind the scenes stuff, all this fun stuff. So feel free to join. I also have a newsletter. Sign up for that. And yeah, find me here always, every week. Bye.